Hello and very warm welcome to RAFLIMTS. This is Farooq Hussain. In this hands-on video tutorial, we will learn how we can start working on DSpace 7 after the installation. In two of the last videos, we have learned how we can install DSpace 7 front end on Ubuntu 20.04 and how we can connect that front end with the demo site. And also we have learned how we can install DSpace 7 backend on Ubuntu 20.04 and how we can connect that front end with the locally installed DSpace 7 backend. So this video is all about to start working on DSpace 7, and here I'm going to use a demo site for practice purpose. Whenever you want to practice on DSpace 7 or DSpace 6, you have to use demo site, and then you become proficient so you can use your own server. So let's start working with DSpace 7. Let me open my web browser. Okay, and there you just need to write demo DSpace 7, and there you can see the very first site is about to demo DSpace 7, or you can use this address. It's demo7.dspace.org, and there you can log in with the provided login ID and password. So let me log in here. This one. Okay, when you become login, so what you need to do, you can see this menu bar at the left navigation, and there you will see new, edit, import, export, account control, admin search, registries, and so on. So in this video particularly, we are going to talk new to start working on DSpace 7. And what's new actually, we need to create a community or a numbers of communities depends on, and sub communities, and then collection, and then items. So the collection would be something, a collection point. So let us start working on DSpace 7 communities, sub-communities, collection, and items. But before we move on, let us understand the concepts of these things. So here I have one presentation, and suppose you are going to create a research repository of your university or college or a school or any non-academic institution. So there must be some core groups. Like in a university, you have two faculties, faculty of health sciences and the faculty of arts. Maybe you have some other core groups. So the core groups, your main groups, would be your top level communities, either the department, either the faculties, or whatever they are. So, and the subdivisions of communities would be called sub communities. For example, in a faculty of health science, you have a department of medicine, you have department of surgery. Similar for faculty of arts, you have department of education and the department of economics. These departments, I mean those departments would be your sub communities. And then you have further subdivision. For example, Department of Medicine has some sections like cardiology, like gastro, like oncology, like neurology, and Department of Surgery also has some sections like cardiologic surgery, dental oral surgery, general surgery, neurosurgery, and urology. And similar for Department of Education, special education, elementary educations, secondary education, adult education, higher education, and Department of Economics also has some departments. So the departments, I mean the sections, further subdivisions of sub communities would be your collection, like collection points where you can add collection within some core groups. and whatever the collection you will add would be your items like books chapters, journal articles, images, presentation, dissertation, or maybe different. So you can add multiple items within a collection, and the collection will go in the sub community, and the sub community in under the community. So let's start working on uh, these thing, and let's see. You have a community, like community would be your faculty, the core group, and the sub community, the further subdivision, and the collection further subdivision, and then items. So this is similar like the TV summaries, and we have DDCs, I mean DV decimal classification. So we have communities, we have sub communities, and we have collection. And then in collection we have multiple items like books, um, uh, uh, journal articles, or whatever the information items. So let's start working here, and let me open my DSpace. And to add a community, we need to click on community, and there we can add a top level community. So we need to click here, and there you can add a logos, community logo. For example, your faculty has a separate logo than your core organization, so you can add that. Let me see if I have any logo. Let's take this banner, and the community would be your faculty of health sciences, like this one. You can add some introduction about the faculty in HTML. If you don't know HTML, leave it HTML. There's no need to add something, but you can add, I mean, without HTML, like plain. Welcome to Faculty of Health Sciences Research Repository. And you can also add some short description, plain short description. So there you can add some HTML code like heading 1 and close heading 2 in heading 1 and then short, not like this, short description. So you can add some short description if you have about the department Faculty of Health Sciences established in 1909, and the core group this is just a dummy example, and some copyright information. For example, please contact Mr. Burrow for copyright at DSpace at the if you have any news, you can add news. Let us save this. See, the community logo uploaded successfully and community created successfully. So there's a logo actually, and you can stop this, you can stop this. So here's the logo, here's the banner we can add, and we have added this as a heading 1. So you can actually smaller this like heading 2 or heading 3, and there you will see the permanent URL for this community. So if you want to use a permanent URL, the separate URL than your core repository URL, so you can use this URL. You can provide to your patrons about the URL, and there you can see the copyright information. And now what would be our next step to add the sub community here? So you will see this: create a new community in this community. So we are going to create a sub community here. So you can add a logo of sub community. If your sub community or your department has separate logo, you can add that. And if there's no logo, leave it, and there you can add like Department of Medicine. You can add some introductory text, short description, copyright information, and the news if you have, and save it. But the name is actually the mandatory. Now we have created one top level community and one sub community, and then we have to create a collection point. So the collection point would be in Department of Medicine under the Faculty of Health Sciences. So like the collection point would be your, for example, cardiology, and you can add some HTML, some good HTML or CSS, so you can design that page, and you can add some description, you can add some copyright information and the news. So the most important thing is to add the license, entry type, and you can leave them, like you can add some license, or any information about your license, so you can add here. Okay, and now this is actually the permanent URL. If you have noticed, your sub community also has a URL, and your faculty also has a URL, so you can provide this URL directly to access these community. So now we need to add some submission within this community. So we can add some item here. So under this collection point, we can add some item. An item would be your book, articles, or whatever the items available within your holdings. You have the access for them. There you need to drop files to attach them to the item. Okay, so you can attach an item like PDF file or any other thing. For example, we have this. For example, this one, DV summaries, and there you can add some description. In description we have authors. We can add authors like this. You can add some title. And other title, if there are any other title, add more. You can add more. If there are any other title, date of issuance, whatever the date of the issuance, for example, date of publication. So let's suppose the date of publication is today. Not today. Okay, and month would be, and date, today is 26. Citation, you can add citation. Please give the date of previous publication, or okay, this is about citation. So you can enter the standard citation for previously issued instance of this item. So you can add some citation here. If there's a serial number, so you can add some serial number or report number, or you can add more here. If there's any ISSN, you can add some ISSN. The type would be, what is the type? So we have the book. This is one of the book, or we can say this is a book chapter. And there you can select the language. For example, we are talking about the language English, and further you can describe this. So you have keywords. So what would be the keywords, like in medicine, science, in cardiology? Suppose we are not adding a DV summary, we are adding a book of cardiology. So we can add some sections here. So there you will see some suggested keywords. Medical engineering, whatever the people has added here, so you will see. And you can separate them. I think you can separate by using a comma. And you can add the abstract here. If there is any abstract, you can add the sponsor name. If there is any sponsor, you can add the description here. And your file is there, and you can save for later, save here, deposit. And deposit. It's actually adding the file. So now it has added, so you can see this, there's no thumbnail, and you can add it further if you want to add full item page. There's a URL. So what we do, we have created one community, I mean the top level community, and we have add one sub community within that community, and then the collection point, and in that collection point we have added this, I mean the item. So whatever metadata, you will fill it out and it will represent here. So let us add one more community here, I mean the top level community. Let us repeat this process. So if we want to repeat this, there we can add another logos, for example this one, and top level community would be Faculty of Arts. And there we have some introductory text we can add, like heading 3, welcome to Faculty of Arts, close heading 3. Short description, you can add some short description, some copyright text, please email to Burrow dot Hussein, whatever, for any copyright for news. If you have some news, you can add in HTML format. Save this. So we have added one more community here, and the permanent URL of that community. In this community, we can add some sub communities and the collection. So we need to add from here. Okay, like department of economics. Save, and now we are going to add one collection within Department of Economics. Macro, and we can submit items here. Suppose this is one of the thesis, and you can describe this item like the author, for example, the family name and the given name. Title, macroeconomics. Action. If there are any other title, you can add, or you can add subdivision in the subtitle here. By other title, the title in other language, but we are using this feature as subtitle. Date, for example, this thesis submitted on 1st January. Publisher name, and the citation, you can add some citation if you have. Serial number, if you are using journal, so you need to write the serial number, like volume number, like issue number, for example 2, volume number and the issue number. Or you can use this option as well, like 2 1. ISSN, if there's any ISSN available to your journal, you can add. Type, there I'm using this as the journal. Like the book chapter. Language, English. And there I can add some keywords. For example, macro, economics, abstract, add some abstract, some in sponsor of your article, your dissertations. If there are any sponsor, you can have. Upload files, and there's a license agreement. I confirm the license above. So save for later, save now, and the deposit. So you have three options. So you can save as draft or you can save for later and deposit now. So here's your submission now showing 1 of 10. So all the submissions we can see here, and we have submitted one item here. So let us see. Show more. So there we have Faculty of Arts, we have Faculty of Health Sciences. If we drop down this, we have Department of Economics, and under Department of Economics we have internet is actually taking time, speed slow, or server has a lot of traffics. I don't know. It's my go to sleep. Let us see the other faculty. Hmm. Okay, let us open this. Okay, there we are. So that's all for today. We have added two communities, two sub communities, and the two collection here. And under two collections, we have two multiple items. So there you can see the details of this if you want to see. And it might take few time actually. There's no thumbnail, so you can edit this and the details, and you can edit this further from here as well, the community, collection, and item. In some other video, we will try to work on the access control. We will work on the administrative workflow. So thank you very much for watching. This is Farooq Hossain and you are watching RAFLIMTS.